At the edge of the village, in a tiny weather-beaten cottage, surrounded by wildflowers and silence, lived an old lady. Her skin was a map of time, deep lines etched by decades of sorrow and joy. Her eyes, though tired, still held the kind of light that only those who have loved deeply can carry. She had once been everything: a celebrated midwife, a beloved storyteller, a mother, a wife. Her home had been full of laughter and music, of fresh bread and tiny feet running across wooden floors. But time, that cruel and clever thief, had taken everything. Her husband died in the war. Her children, all 4 of them, lost to disease and accident. Her friends, gone. Her voice, once strong and full of wisdom, had grown quiet, for there was no one left to listen. And so she lived alone. One morning, as she opened her door to collect the morning air, she found a small wooden box sitting on her doorstep. It was plain, unmarked, with no name or note attached. She looked up and down the empty path. No one. Her hands trembled as she picked it up and carried it inside. The box was warm, as if it had been sitting in the sun, though there had been no sun yet that morning. She placed it gently on her table and sat across from it, staring. "What could you possibly want with an old woman like me?" she whispered. Eventually, curiosity won. Inside the box was nothing, or so it seemed. No gold, no jewels, no letter, just a single folded piece of paper. She unfolded it slowly, expecting a message, a name, a memory, but the paper was blank. Frustrated, she sighed. "Is this some kind of cruel joke?" she said aloud, tears pricking the corners of her eyes. She went to throw the paper away, but as her fingers moved, she noticed something strange. Words were beginning to appear, slowly, as if written by an invisible hand. "You have lost everything, yet you still wake up. You still breathe. You still wait. That is not weakness. That is courage." She gasped. More words followed. "What you gave to the world was never taken. It lives in every child you brought into life, in every story you told, in every heart you once touched." Tears streamed freely now. "This box holds what remains when all is gone. Your purpose, your love, your spirit. You are not empty. You are full of everything that matters." And then the words disappeared. The paper returned to its blank state. But she felt something inside her shift. That day, she walked through the village for the first time in years. She sat under the tree in the center of the square, where young mothers gathered and children played. At first, they stared at her, unsure. But then, a little boy wandered up to her and asked, "Grandma, do you know any stories?" She smiled, slowly but truly. "Yes, child," she said, her voice steady. "I know many." And as the children gathered around her and the mothers listened with grateful hearts, she began to speak, not of loss, but of life, of wonder, of peace. She told stories that made them laugh. and some that made them cry, but all of them made them feel. In that moment, she understood the truth. Even when life has taken everything, it cannot take who you are. It cannot take what you've given. And sometimes, even an empty box can be a gift. Happiness isn't found in what you possess, but in what you give. Even when there's nothing left, love, purpose, and peace can still remain.